All right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and you have to excuse me a bit because I'm feeling pretty terrible to tell you the truth. I'm going to go back to bed as soon as I upload this, but I wanted to put something out for you guys. Anyway, the theme of today is going to be, this is wild, and you'll soon see why. So, first of all, we had Bob Lucas come out and say that when Bitcoin peaks, either left translated next year or right translated the following year in 2025 for this 4 year cycle, he believes that we're going to go into a very long winter, probably as much as 8 years between all-time highs again, especially if this cycle forms as a broad blow-off top. He also then went on to say he wouldn't even be surprised if we saw a 12-year gap between all-time highs. So I bet you weren't expecting to see that. I know I certainly wasn't. I was trying to think about what this would look like if we went up to a peak of 2025 and then a 1 year bear market. Then what would we have? Another 4 year cycle that perhaps left translates for a lower high and a 3 year bear market. And then how many years between highs would this be? Perhaps a consolidation cycle for 4 years and then a right translated cycle again. And that would give us our 12 years between all time highs. Seems kind of crazy to me. But if we were to have, like he says, a broad blow off top, then perhaps it would only be 8 years. But if we hit something like, I don't know, 7, 8, 900K, then I guess it is going to be quite difficult to catch that back up again. Anyway, I guess for now I'm not putting too much energy on this, but it was something I was not expecting to see from Bob Lucas. 12 years seems ludicrous to me. As ever, one day at a time. I will say this though, zooming out on the chart, as you can see right here from this green band, right, this seems to be more of a buy in this neighborhood than it is a sell. And there definitely seems to be plenty of space between here and this red bit in the top and the top of this channel, right? So I would say overall, the thing is still more a buy than a sell. Zooming in a little bit more on the shorter time frames, you can see we still have definitely, almost certainly I should say, not definitely, confirmed the bottom, right? Whether we have to come back and retest this neighborhood before moving higher, it still seems like it's going to take a lot to come back down below this breakout level and retest these lows. Again, it speaks to keeping an open mind about seeing higher Bitcoin prices walking forward. On the flip side, right, there is still plenty of optimism around the ETF. And if we were to ask the question, how much capital has got to flow into the ETF after it's approved to put Bitcoin at a $1 million price, the answer might be a lot less than you actually think. 165 billion times 118 using the Bank of America bull market multiple would give us 19.5 trillion market cap, and that would give us a $1 million Bitcoin price. And to put this in context, 165 billion, Apple has that at cash on hand. So it might be a lot earlier than most people realize. If you're sitting there rolling your eyes or about to click off of this video because I just talked about a $1 million Bitcoin price, just remember that a run to $1 million from here wouldn't even crack Bitcoin's top 3 bull runs. So never say never. And it's not just me that is overly bullish at the moment, okay? You can see Raoul Pal and the GMI Total Liquidity Index shows that if we were to see a 20% year-over-year increase in liquidity, we would be at 218k Bitcoin by May of next year. Okay, so that's 5 months away. Is that possible? I don't know. But would it surprise me? It wouldn't. If we were to assume that instead of 20%, we got 5% year-over-year increase in lick, then what we would probably see is 209k Bitcoin by March of 2025. So again, not bad, in my humble opinion. And if we were to assume a 9% year-over-year liquidity increase, then we get $500,000, right? 520k Bitcoin by April of 2026. So I know I say these silly numbers, and I know people are quick to react with emotion and come at me and say, oh, you're way too bullish and blah, blah, blah. But it's not just me that is looking at these targets, right? There's people that are a lot smarter than me with much bigger companies and followings that are putting out these crazy numbers as well, right? And as if that's not enough, here's another one. Because Fidelity, with 3.6 trillion under management, is talking about a Bitcoin market cap appreciation from 800 billion to 15 trillion over the next decade, which would give us $714,000 Bitcoin over the completion of the next 2 cycles. I have to say personally, whether or not Bob ends up being right about this, it certainly seems that in the short term, right, 2024, 2025, even 2026, we are likely going to upset the most amount of people by continuing to move higher. What happens after there is anybody's guess, and of course we'll deal with this one day at a time as always. But for now, I think you'll agree, everything I've shown you looks pretty bullish, and it's nice for me to be able to show you these large price predictions and them come from someone else for once, right? So I like what I see, whilst simultaneously I don't really like what I see out of the Bitcoin price chart at the moment. It's been a little while, if we're completely honest, since I have executed a terrible entry on a trade. But here's one for you, right? Now, as always, I call my trades out ahead of time on this channel. I show you them, win, loss, or draw. I show you any mistakes if I make them, okay? I keep it real as I try to uphold the highest possible standard of YouTube traders, and this is no different. So it's been a while since I've had a weird entry like this, but here's a weird entry for you. Managed to get the absolute top of this breakout. It since then is failing, but I'm going to continue to push this trade and let the stop do the worrying. One, because I've sized the trade appropriately, right? So I'm not going to get damaged if I'm taken out here. And two, all the while we're above this cycle low, then the cycle has not yet failed. We still have a valid cycle ahead of us, and this may well just end up being a double bottom that then resolves to the upside. So I'm going to continue to push this trade. If you're an OG here, you've seen one or two of these before that usually work out. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. There's a gap at 39 and a bit, I think, a CME gap. Maybe we're going to fill that. Maybe we're going to undercut this low and then break out. And if that's the case, then I'll re-enter here, right? But for now, long and strong continue to push, and we'll see what the market can give. I have a sneaky suspicion this is going to hold this cycle low, and this is going to end up being a little double bottom, a little shakeout before the resumption of the macro uptrend. Other than that, I really don't think there's anything else for me to say with respect to the charts. I covered everything in the weekend's deep dive TA video. I don't think much has changed, right? Still looking for this pullback into this cycle low, which is due around the 22nd. And then for the remaining week of this year, I expect to see this big push up towards all-time highs, perhaps with some kind of rejection here, or perhaps a breakout, retest, and resumption. There's going to be some level of interaction at the all-time high level, I would have thought. But for now, like I said, find this cycle low over the next, say, this week, and then that sets us up for the final week of the year to see some nice, fresh, all-time highs, in my humble opinion. So that's it from me. Sorry, it's a bit of a short one. Sorry, my voice is a bit beaten down, but like I said, I'm going back to bed because I feel absolutely terrible. So in the meantime, I hope you're doing well in life. I hope you're feeling better than I am, and I'll do my best to come back tomorrow, but if I'm not there, just forgive me for that. And like I said, I'm going to push through these trades, let the stops do the worrying, and we'll come back and reevaluate after we've had a bit more price action. So perhaps this is a shake-up Monday with a turnaround Tuesday. I remain optimistic for now, at least. In the meantime, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.